All right.
Cool.
Art of the Fail listeners, fans,
Watchers,
haters,
all of the above.
welcome back. We are introducing you to season 2 of the podcast. We're super excited to finally share what we've been working on for quite some time with everybody. And we're using this video as basically just an introduction, explain what we did differently, what we think we didn't do so well last season, and where we want to head in the future. So one of the things we're introducing is obviously video. And I want to preface this in particular because throughout the season, there will be some serious video fuck-ups. We're still understanding how, just because it's just the two of us here, right? Just the two of us making this podcast. We're building it out in the open, and I think that's important to us. Maybe to people that are interested in podcasting or just interested in seeing two guys actually, do this from scratch. So there's some hiccups. Quality.
And by some, we mean there's quite a bit of hiccups.
There's many. Quality, different angles, different setups, different microphones. It'll be interesting and entertaining, I think, at the very least.
Different cameras.
Yeah.
That we're recording off of.
Different cameras. So bear with us, but I think at the meat of it, that the conversations are what count, and to that point, our conversations are a little bit different this season. Do you want to give a little context on the format and change to the format?
Yeah, I think. When you were just talking there, you said there's a lot of things that we've changed, which we have. We have changed quite a bit of things for this season, but particularly the reason why we did that was, I guess more or less, we kind of learned from our mistakes, our failures, ironically, from last season. And there were just a couple things that I would say we noticed that were probably okay, but needed either a lot of TLC or just like there was a huge area for improvement there. So I mean, for anyone that is watching or listening that actually knows Chris or myself, more so me, I don't know, you as well, but we can be very just like on the fly type of guys and lack a lot of structure, and I love that, don't get me wrong. I think personally, it's sort of what made last season work really well, but it's also what didn't work well for last season. So we lacked a lot of structure in terms of even like the format going into each episode, because we would literally scramble together right before, probably 5 or 10 minutes before we actually hopped online with our guests. And we'd be like, okay, we're doing this, right? Yeah, we're doing this, right? Yeah, we're doing this, right? Okay, cool. We're on the same page. Let's go. So one of the major differences is the format and the structure itself, and actually having one. So you're going to notice that on top of video, of course, like Chris was saying, but you're going to notice that for these episodes with season 2, that we do have more of a formality in terms of we have a proper introduction. We'll hop into a bit of a Q&A, and that is meant really just for you to get a better understanding of who our guests are on more of a personal level. And then after we've gone through that, which typically takes about depending on the guest, I'd say anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And once we've gone through that, then that's where we really get into, the nitty gritty or the meat and potatoes of it all. And that's when we start to uncover these experiences or lessons of failure, and really start to paint a picture on each guest's journey and sort of how they got to where they are today.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think, the fuck-ups of the day, or the recent failures that we used to do on the show, where we basically highlight a recent hiccup in our lives. The goal was to create some more reality and rawness to what we're trying to talk about on this show, which is really one of the main goals. And I'll double-click on that in a minute. But it almost seemed too inauthentic.
Right. Yeah. Funny. Maybe I won't get into it here, but
yeah, I think that's what we discovered.
Yeah.
And so, the Q&A session in the beginning is really fun. I think you'll enjoy it, because it really helps, I think, lighten the mood for us, for our guests, and then the listeners at home. One of the things that really worked in season 1 that we heard as positive feedback was that people feel like they're in the room with us, and that's what we want to continue with the show, keeping it.
Yeah, and that's never something that like we ever want to lose. I think that is sort of like, if we even want to call it like the winning factor, quote unquote, but it's definitely something,
the identity of what we're doing here,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And then the other thing that may or may not be a little bit different, I think our episodes aren't structured again in the way that they end at the same time, and but we are going longer.
Yep.
And we're going even more real conversation. So instead of, we were trying to fit this mold of, okay, tell us your entire like life's journey so that we can find the failures and then talk about them. It's more of an open-ended conversation, and it ends up becoming not only more valuable in the end, but more entertaining, I think.
100%.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of context about season 2, July 19th.
July 19th. That's a Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah, that's when the magic is it's already happening right now, but that's when it officially kicks off. So July 19th, watch out.
Art of the Fail season 2. Now, what we need from you is, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. If you can, leave us a comment. Tell us if you're viewers or listeners of season 1, tell us what you liked, what you didn't like. We want to create value, and we want to be entertaining. And the only way to do that is through feedback. So do that for us.
Big time. Yep.
And hit the notification bell if you subscribe on YouTube, because that's how you know when we put out new shit.
And one last thing before we go. In the comments, let us know what you think of that sign behind us. We're pretty proud of it, and I hope you are too.
The Art of the Fail season 2 coming July 19th.